Hello guys! Why do I always do that? I always do that hello. Hello guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute, let me tell you. I don't even want to like dwell on it. I just needed a break from YouTube. There was lots of life things going on and I just needed the space, so I took it and I'm back. And I honestly wasn't going to film this video because it's already, like almost midway through Jan. But I was like, no, damn it, I spent all last year like taking photos of every single book that I read and putting them aside with the intention of filming a tier ranking video like this. So damn it, it is happening. And I don't care that it's late, but I'm doing this for me and for you. And I should probably tell you, we're tier ranking every single book that I read in 2025. With this tier ranking generator, which I see so many YouTubers use, and I'm so curious. It looks like so much fun, so I'm excited to try it out. So I'm pretty much going to jump straight in, but thank you for coming, thank you for watching. Get yourself a drink, get yourself comfortable, and enjoy Let's Gap about these books. There are so many different books. Like when I tell you so many different genres were consumed last year. I read 73 books. And I've never read that many books in a year. And I may never read that many books again. It's very exciting. There's also self-help and personal development in here. Like, just to warn you, there's an absolute colossal mix of books and genres. So I feel like we should just jump straight in. The first thing I'm going to do is just go through my categories real quick and explain myself. So let's start at the top, I reckon. These are my books and these are my categories. So at the very top, like, you can't get better than this. This book changed my DNA. It rearranged my entire world, rearranged the cosmos, and I think about this book daily. 5 stars was not enough. It is infinity stars. Next we have a 5-star read. Like, there was nothing to fault with this book. It didn't rearrange my life and like break me down and put me back together irreparably, but it was a fantastic read. It was a great time. The characters, the plot, the humor, the romance, everything was giving what it needed to give, and it was a solid 5-star. Okay, and then next I have Almost Perfect, which is like your 4.75 and above books, where it was like, this was giving everything but one thing. This was almost perfect. Like, maybe just one element was off, or there was just one thing that I just couldn't get past, you know what I mean? And like, maybe that's me being the problem, which is also a category here today, but like, I don't know, it was like maybe everything was fantastic, but there was just something about the plot that there was one plot hole, or there was one character that just like I couldn't get past. They didn't do enough for me, or you know what it is. So like, you get it, you get it. Okay, and then we have a solid 4 stars. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. It was just a solid 4 stars. I would still recommend this book. Like, we're still really recommending these books here and above. Okay, and then we've got, I had fun, but there were some issues. I feel like these are just my 3.5 star reads where like they were fun. I was entertained the whole way through. I read the whole book. It was a good time, but like there were some obvious issues. But it wasn't enough for me to put the book down or anything. Like, it was still good. It was still a good time. It still had me. It was just, there were some issues. The next category is that I struggled. I struggled to get through this book. There were issues, and they were not issues I could really look past. And maybe there was a reason I had to finish this book, because I had to, but I did not enjoy the experience and I was frustrated. And then the next category is just no. I feel like these are like my 1 to 2 star reads. Just there were more problems than not. There must have been something here keeping me there, or like I'm reading it because I can't believe how bad it is. Like, it can't be this bad. I have to keep going and I have to keep reading, because I just need, it has to get better, right? And then it just doesn't get better. So that's just not. And then second last is, I should have just DNF'd this book. I don't know why. I don't know why I persevered. I don't know why I continued. I really should have just DNF'd it. It wasn't for me, and it was not a good time. Why didn't I DNF it? And I don't know if I even have any DNFs, because I'm pretty sure I didn't put any DNFs in this list. But if there was DNFs, I would put them in this category. And then lastly is I'm the Problem. And I wanted a category like this because I feel like there was some books inevitably that you just read at the wrong time. You're not in the mood. I'm a mood reader. And if you read it at the wrong time, it's not the book's fault. it's not the book's fault that you were not in the mood. And I feel like I need a category for this so that there are at least a couple that I just read them, I wasn't in the mood for whatever it was, and I was critiquing it unfairly. So yeah, okay, those are my categories. I feel like we're gonna have some fun with this. I'm not gonna go in any particular order, and I do want to preface that reading is a personalized experience. It's very subjective. Everyone has, I feel like I regurgitate what everybody says. My personal experiences with reading are subjective to me, and of course, I'm not saying anybody has to agree with me. Maybe there are some of these books on here that you loved that I didn't, and vice versa, and that is so fine. That is the beauty of reading. So please be nice, and with that in mind, let's get going. I feel like I'm gonna go in order, but okay, we'll start with Ikigai, which is a personal development self-help book, which Ikigai was good. I liked it. I did have fun. It was like probably, I would say, a solid 4 stars for me. Like, it didn't change my life, but it was a good read. Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I feel like I had fun, but there were issues. I actually remember reading this in like a day. I actually can't believe that this was just last year. It feels like I read this ages ago. It must have been towards the start of 2025, but I read this in pretty much a day in a sitting, and there were things I loved about it. It was set in Australia, which is not something you see very often, and the humor was Australian, so I got it. There were some really good elements to it. I think it was just it wasn't very suspenseful. It was more of like a sarcastic humor kind of storytelling from one person's POV. I don't know if you can hear the wind. This is very windy today. Yeah, so like I enjoyed it, but I think I just remember that at the very, very end of the book, it was like this massive dump of information. And I was like, oh, I just feel like it could have been executed differently and it would have been slightly better. Okay, next is Alice Feeney, Rock, Paper, Scissors, another crime book. I really liked this one. I think His and Hers is next. These 2 books. One of them, I'm pretty sure it was His and Hers, absolutely blew me away. I was like so impressed. Yeah, it was His and Hers. His and Hers was like really good. I'd never read an Alice Feeney book before and it just took me by surprise. So I feel like I'm gonna put, absolutely not. I feel like I'm gonna put Almost Perfect for me. That was a really enjoyable book. I think the Rock, Paper, Scissors was not as amazing. I feel like I had a little bit more issues, or maybe it's because I read them in the same month. I remember I read these really close together, and I just think that I wasn't caught off guard. It wasn't such a shock. Maybe I had like a 3.5, so I had fun. I had a really good time. I really liked her writing, and I'm actually really excited to read more from her. Okay, Happy Place. Emily Henry, Happy Place. This was a 5-star read for me. I actually loved this book. I kind of knew I would. I mean, Emily Henry's writing, literally loved it. I actually remember I read her new release, where is it? Great Big Beautiful Life, which I didn't love as much. Oh, I also read Beach Read. So I read like a lot of Emily Henry last year, and I still, like, phenomenal writer. Absolutely love the way she does romance. I love the way she writes characters. It's just incredible. I think for me, Beach Read was like a solid 4 stars. Yeah, it was a solid 4-star read. So Happy Place, that just hit different. That was just, I just felt so emotionally connected to the characters. I felt like Emily Henry does an incredible job of writing stories that could be true. They're relatable because these things do happen to people. These real life situations that are messy and have emotions and like involve other people and everything. It was just really, it was just a masterpiece. So definitely 5 stars for Happy Place. I think Beach Read was solid 4 stars. I think that just this one was a little bit less relatable. So I think a solid 4 stars for Beach Read because I definitely enjoyed learning about these characters. I definitely enjoyed the setting and everything. Still highly recommend, but yeah. Oh, while we're here, we may as well do the last Emily Henry, which is Great Big Beautiful Life. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident that one's gonna go here. I definitely had fun with this book, but there were definitely some issues. This was, I think, Emily Henry's take at doing more of a literary fiction rather than a romance. So a literary fiction with like a subplot of romance in it rather than her like usual brand, which is very romance heavy, emotional romance. Like, I didn't hate it by any means. I know that it got a lot of controversy last year as not being the favorite, and I can see why. It's definitely not my favorite either, but I didn't hate it. I also haven't read The 7 Husbands. Is it The 7 Husbands of The 7 The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I haven't read that, and people were saying that this is a very similar plot. And I think because I hadn't read that, I probably enjoyed it more, maybe because I didn't have that as a frame of reference. I think a lot of people were comparing. But yeah, I think just in general, the plot, the literary fiction plot, the main plot, was just not captivating, and it wasn't very interesting. And so obviously I was like lapping up the crumbs of the romance that we were getting in like every few chapters, but the main plot, whenever we would flip back to that, I was just kind of a bit bored, and yeah, that's not what you want. So had fun, but there were issues. So Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez was, I loved this. I think this really took me by surprise. I can't remember when I read it. Yeah, I think I rated this 5 stars. I was so pleasantly surprised by this book. I have never read it. This was my first, was it this one? Yeah, this was my first Abby Jimenez, and I can't even explain. I don't even know how to like explain. I don't know if I can remember all of it. I just remember the humor, the romance, the characters, their development. I was loving all of it. I really, really was blown away by her writing, and I was just so, yeah. So then I also think I read Yours Truly last year. Yeah, I did. And look, I think the timing of when I read it was definitely impacted. It definitely impacted. I don't know if I put it in I'm the problem, because I read it at a time where I was not in the right headspace. But at the same time, like, I felt like I had issues with it. There were issues there. There were issues that I identified that I was like, no, this, like, you're trying to romanticize something that I don't think should be romanticized. Like, the premise was really cute, but I just felt like it felt a little codependent. It felt like he was way too obsessed with her way too soon. And like the way that they moved in together to keep this ruse going, like I think it was fake dating. And like they moved in together, and it was just like, they didn't need to. They definitely didn't need to do that to like keep the ruse up, but they kind of like just made it so it could happen. And I don't know, I don't change my answer. I think that I had fun, but I think that there were definitely some issues. It's going there. Okay. Oh, Kingdom of the Curse. Okay. I feel like, wait, I think I read the second and the last book of the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. And let me tell you, this was not my favorite. I was really excited for this series because I don't know, it was hyped up to me. And then I don't know whether it was just me or if it was the fact that I audiobooked some of it and read some of it, and sometimes it's just a big no-no. Like, especially with fantasy, I feel like unless the audiobook is phenomenal, it just takes away from the experience, or it gets really cringy. And this was one of those times. I did stop the audiobooking when I thought it was impacting my reading, and just went to solely reading, and it didn't help. It was like the deed was done. So I don't know, I feel like the second one, I struggled, but I got through it. There were parts that were really good that kept me interesting. There was more like romance, progression, and like, oh, but the plot was not, it wasn't working for me. Hang on, let's see, when did I read them? Yeah, I feel like I struggled, but it was okay. And then the last one was like, I feel like the last one was just a no. Now that I think about it, like the more I've thought about it, I think I might have rated them more highly when I read them. But now, since then, I haven't stopped thinking about how much I despised it. I hated it. I didn't like it. I'm sorry, I just didn't. It just wasn't for me. I think I'm gonna leave it there. I struggled, and that could have been the audiobook's fault, but then Kingdom of the Feared, the way they ended it, and no. Okay, Onyx Storm. I know this one is a solid 4 stars. So obviously I'm a huge fan of the Fourth Wing series. This was not my favorite, but I loved it. I'll lap this up. I'm so invested at this point that I will take everything that she gives us from these two characters and this found family, any of them. Yeah. So it was like a solid 4 stars. I honestly think I will reread the series before the next book comes out, and it'll be really interesting to me to see if my rating changes, because I read it when it first came out and it was like all that was being spoken about. It was so hyped. Everyone was reading it. Everyone was sharing their opinions, and I kind of almost felt like pressured to get it done before I would go on to my phone and see any spoilers. And so I really wonder if I could take my time with it and do a reread, if my opinion would change, if I would rate it higher. or if I would just keep it as a solid 4 stars, because yeah, like I felt like the added pressure of reading it when everybody else was took a little bit away from the experience. It was almost like I read it all, but it just felt rushed. I don't know how else to explain. But yeah, so at this point it's a solid 4 stars. I'm gonna try it again and see how we go. The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I read this, and when I first read it, I didn't mind it. I mean, everybody knows what the 5 love languages are at this point, and I do love talking about it because I do think there's merit to them. I also since then have considered this book and some of the examples used in the time that it was written, and I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, or maybe it's not an unpopular opinion, but there was a lot of expectation on the women to do a lot of the emotional labor in the relationship. And so I think when I first read this book, I was just swept away by, you know, learning more about the love languages. And since then, I've realized that there are better ways to communicate the love languages in a way that both partners, no matter what kind of relationship you're in, it's like there are better ways to distribute the emotional labor and not put it all onto one person. And this, I just didn't feel like it did that. So considering that, I don't know where to put it now. I don't think I'm the problem. But I had fun, but there were issues. Doesn't feel right to me either, because I'm struggling with it now, you know? I'm struggling with it now. I feel like I'm gonna put it here based on how I feel about it now. The Switch by Lily Sampson. This was a thriller I read very early on. I definitely struggled with this one. I did finish it. I think I went into it thinking the premise was going to be something that it wasn't. It was actually like, hey, you want to sleep with my husband and I'll sleep with your husband? Bet. No. Yeah, so it wasn't a vibe. I struggled. It was like not terrible writing, but then like the plot kind of took a really weird turn, and I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember a lot of the plot. It was more of an eerie read rather than like a suspense. Yeah, it was no Housemaid, I'll tell you that much. Okay, moving on. Dance of Thieves. A highly anticipated read for last year. Oh boy. Yeah, I struggled. Again, I think I've blacked out a lot of the information about this book because I can't remember a lot of the plot. I just remember it being so dumb. I just remember being like, what do you mean? Why are these characters not communicating? Why are they being so stupid? Why? I feel like I remember reading this and then saying like, if they had like at the very beginning just sat down at a pub and got a drink together and like actually just told the truth, they wouldn't have had to go, I wouldn't have had to read 350 pages of shit. They would have just found an alliance immediately and gotten on with their day. And I struggled. It wasn't just no, because the writing was good. Like the writing was not, it wasn't the best, but it definitely was like, it was good writing. Yeah. I feel like I struggled, not my favorite. And I also went into that with really high expectations, and that was probably my fault. The Power by Rhonda Byrne, I think. Really, really good. Loved this book. This is a manifestation book, so a spiritual kind of read, and I loved it. That's right up my alley. I think I rated this like a 5 stars. I honestly am very generous with my, oh no, I rated it a 4 star. Solid 4 stars. Whoops. I'm very generous with my self-help books. I'm either not going to rate them at all, because with self-help it's really hard, or with personal development it's hard. It's like, just because this book didn't resonate with me and where I'm at in life doesn't mean it's not a phenomenal book that's going to change someone else's life. So I feel like when I rate one of these books, it's like I'm either just, it's 5 stars, really 4 stars, 5 stars, or I just like, I'm not really going to rate it, because which is terrible. Doesn't really help you get a good recommendation. But yeah, I base these ratings off of whether it had some kind of effect on my personal life, my outlook on life, my spiritual health and well-being. Like, it's very personal, it's very subjective. So okay, and then next is another personal development. That's the Let Them Theory, and I think I rated this 5 stars at the time. Honestly, I'm now thinking about it and I feel like I want to change my rating. I don't know, I rated it 5 stars at the time, but I honestly feel like it's more of like an, what do I think? I think I'm just gonna leave it. I rated it 5 stars because I think it just was a very empowering book. It's basically a book saying instead of trying to control everyone around you and get them to act a certain way, if you just let them, then you are freeing yourself from that burden of like caring and worrying and trying to make everything perfect, and you just live your own life, which I think is fantastic advice and we should all take it. But I just remember thinking like, I think I've just thought about it a lot since then, and I've seen a lot of people make comments, and I think maybe I'm getting influenced. So I'm going to keep it as 5 stars. Alright, Twisted by Steve Kavanaugh. I feel like this is a solid 4 stars. I love Steve. I love his writing. This was not a part of the Eddie Flynn series, which was fine, because I've read, he's got a couple of standalones. I think this and Kill for Me, Kill for You are his standalone books. And I had a good time with this. It was not his usual style. Here we go. Oh no, I actually didn't rate it. I rated it 3.5. So I had fun, but there were issues. I do remember feeling like the ending was not what I wanted exactly. I wanted it to have more oomph. I wanted it to have more pizzazz. I don't know. I just wanted it to have more. I mean, I still credit the man, because phenomenal writer, and that experience, that brain, genius. Okay, Animal Farm by George Orwell. This is the only classic I read last year, and I'm sorry, it's a 5 star. Oh, it didn't change my DNA. But it was a 5 star. I read this last in high school, and this is the weirdest story, but I remember reading this in high school, and I remember thinking to myself, like, it was phenomenal. It literally stayed with me for so long, and I was just remunerating over this book and the meaning behind it. So much so that my brain, because I'm a very, if you don't know me, I'm an Aquarius, and I'm very big on justice. I'm very big on social justice, and this book really stood out to me for that reason. But my brain didn't like the ending. The ending implies that the cycle will continue. It's inevitable. It's not the gratifying, the underdog wins ending that you want when you're reading this book. And it's like a tiny little book. It's not that big. And I just, for some reason in high school, I obviously, like, in my brain, I changed the ending so that the pigs won in the end. They overthrew the tyranny and they won, and they lived happily ever after. Like, I literally gave my brain, distorted the ending to give it the ending that I wanted it to have, and I just carried that with me through life. And then when I decided to pick it up last year and read it again, I was fully like expecting that ending, and when it didn't come, I was shook. I was gobsmacked. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What's happened here? Why is the ending different? And then I just, yeah, obviously it wasn't different. It was exactly the same, but I'm an adult now, and I was able to accept things for what they were. And it was still a 5 star, because I was like, damn, that's true. So yeah, that's the fun story about Animal Farm. Okay, Harry Potter. Oh my god, let's do all the Harry Potters. I reread Harry Potter last year, and I have 0 regrets. I have less than 0 regrets. It was just the best time. Where are all my Harry Potters? Am I blind? Oh, okay, there we go. The first one is here. I'm just gonna put them all at the front. The 4th one, where are you? 4th is here. 5th, right there. I'm blind. The 5th, oh, get in your seat, please. The 6th, and then the 7th. Okay, I read these all in winter. It was a vibe. It was such a vibe, and I loved it. Like, reading them as a kid, phenomenal, fantastic. Started the obsession, lit the fire in my soul that has carried me through my 30 years of life. Rereading it as an adult, but like, okay, let's just go through. I feel like Harry Potter, this is gonna go up high. Get out of there. 5 stars. The first book was fantastic. How did she do it? How did she do this? I don't know how she did it. It's literally like 200 and something pages. It's the tiniest book you've ever read. And yet it begins this entire setting. Like, get that like whiteboard with all the pins and all the things. She starts plotting in this book. Maybe you don't remember, because it's been years since you've read it. Reread it and you'll see what I mean. She plants seeds for the entire, the ending, the final book. She hadn't even written it yet. She plants seeds in here of what is going to happen, and I'm very passionate, but that just like enhanced the experience for me. I don't think I wouldn't have rated the first one or expected to rate the first book so highly as I did. She's a genius in this, like the way she's written this book. Anyway, okay, so then I feel like the second book I rated The second book's my least favorite. The second book is literally like, I don't even know what my problem is. I don't know what my problem is. I feel like coming off a high from the first book, I was just so critical of the second, but maybe it was the lack of Hermione. I don't know. It was just not my favorite. I had fun. It was 3.5 stars for me. I had fun, but it was just like the humor as well, like just doesn't hit until the third book. But the third book is like one of the best books in the world. Yeah, this is a 5-star read for me. Like, this one had me laughing out loud like so often. I was like, I don't remember it being this funny, but it was hilarious. Love, 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 love. Then, right, we get to the fourth book, which normally I never liked the fourth movie because it scared me when I was a child. The book is so much better. And as a kid, I just didn't appreciate it. But like this book was actually, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. It was really good. It was like almost perfect for me. Like almost a perfect 5 stars. The fourth book, get in your assigned seat. It was a good time. I actually was very pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect to like that. The fifth one as well, same experience. I genuinely remember that being my least favorite because of Umbridge. And I actually really, really enjoyed it. I think it was a solid, no, it wasn't. It was like almost perfect as well. I was vibing, as you can tell. I was vibing the series. I was in the world. I was reading these all back to back. It was happening so fast. I was mixing it in with the Stephen Fry narration audiobooks. What an experience. Highly recommend if you haven't. That was just phenomenal. And then the sixth book, 5 stars. Absolutely loved this book. Have always loved this book. I feel like for me personally, it goes to the third book and then the sixth book. If I was to rank them, which I'm not going to, but those would be first and that would be second. And then like, oh, Deathly Hallows, 5 stars. 5 stars, literally. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, so that's me rating Harry Potter. Okay, I feel like we need to move on, but yes, phenomenal, loved it. I highly recommend rereading Harry Potter as an adult if you haven't already, because my goodness, what a time. Okay, A Killing Cold. This was like another thriller. It was like a solid 3 stars. Like I had fun, but there were issues. There was like obvious plot holes or convenient things just happening for the sake of the plot to keep it going. Characters weren't that deep. Okay, the only one left. I do remember I enjoyed this. I feel like this was like a solid 4 stars. Really good. I'd never read Riley Sager before either, so I think I was in the business of just trying new crime authors. Okay, The Law of Attraction by Abraham Hicks. This is another spiritual personal development one. I loved this book. It was definitely a 5-star read for me. We've got no books up here yet. I can't believe that. Yeah, like it was definitely a 5-star read. I think I read it, like I audiobooked this one and I think I listened to it possibly 3 times last year. Like I just kept restarting it. It was so good. I think this one is a right time. Like you have to be in the right headspace, in the right place to like really absorb the teachings of this book, and I was there. Okay, The Tenet by Freida McFadden. Freida McFadden is very hit or miss for me. In fact, I feel like there's been The Housemaid. The Housemaid was fantastic. Loved that. The first and even the second, really good. Really loved that. But the rest that I've read, honestly, very hit or miss or just very mid. Like very mid. I think I remember The Tenet being like one of the plot twists that I actually did catch me by surprise. But yeah, there was still a lot of other issues with this book. I mean, I got through it. I don't think I struggled as much. Like, I remember reading The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden. I struggled with that book. Why does she write women so stupid? Like, any woman you know, guaranteed any woman you know, is not that stupid. Just, no. Oh my gosh, The Nightingale. Absolutely 5-star read. Literally, the only reason this is not a 6-star read is because if you know The Nightingale, you'll know, like, this is not one that you come back to all the time. This is not this is not going to be on the reread rotation a lot. I don't think that's necessary. It is like an experience that I think we all should experience at least once. I think I can just only spew out words. It was beautiful. It was heartbreaking. It was so eye-opening. It was relevant. It was a story that needed to be told, and Kristen Hanna was the person to tell that story. It was just so profound. Okay, The Vortex is another maybe I should just get these all out the way. Vortex is another one of the spiritual reads I did last year. I think this was like okay. It was one of those ones that I think like an interesting time for me. So this one didn't hit as hard, but that's not to say that if I reread it at a different time, again, it could just hit totally different. Money and the Law of Attraction. That was absolutely 5 stars. Loved that one. Any others? Maybe I'm just gonna get them all out the way. I feel like we'll just do the personal development ones. Okay, When You're Ready, This Is How You Heal by Brianna Wiest. This was really good. I really enjoyed this one. I remember it was a solid 4 stars for me. I'm sorry, I won't be able to tell you much about these books because the teachings that hit are just so relevant to me and where I'm at in life personally at this age, at this point in life. Like, it's one of those books that you've got to read to, and just, you know, if it's for you, it's for you. I don't know what else to say about it because I can't really remember everything. And even if I did, I don't know how that would apply to you. So I'm just going to leave it there. Then I also read Goodbye Good Girl, Hello Me. And that was an interesting one. I actually didn't rate it. I remember it was just I feel like I'm going to say I had fun, but there were issues. This is one of those books that was like really, you need to go into it taking into consideration that this person's got their own personal biases and things, and you take what resonates and you leave the rest. Does that make any sense? Like, I went into it and the premise was great. It was basically about ending the good girl stereotype and the good girl conditioning that a lot of women, if not all women, are conditioned to, you know, be like, girls are quiet, they're seen and not heard, and this people pleaser culture that is built into us. And it was that premise that attracted me to it. It's like kicking to the side of all this conditioning that we have had ingrained into us, and like really learning who we are underneath it all, who the true authentic versions of ourselves are. And so I loved the premise, and then I just think that there were just a couple of things where I felt like, oh, I don't know if I agree with that. That's more of an opinion. And I know that this is like, they're all biased, right? Somebody's writing these from their perspective or their personal research or things like that. But there were just some parts that I didn't agree with, and that's okay. Okay, I think it's Julian Turecki. I don't know how to say her last name, but It Begins With You was fantastic. For me, it was just like right time. Yeah, it was a 5-star read for me. I just read it at a time when I needed it the most. I think, let me read this. The hard truths about love that will change you forever. It was like the gentlest, tough love I've ever received through a book about how to actually love yourself and set the standard for your own self-love and others to love you. And just, there was lots of hard truths in there that I really appreciated, and I really needed them at the time that I got them. And I just, this is one of those ones that is just going to stick with me forever, and I definitely think I'll come back to it in the future. So, okay, we can get back to the fun stuff, the fiction. Okay, Love Mum was another thriller. Ooh, this was a book club pick, and the premise was so good. Like, the premise was essentially that this girl had a mum who was a famous writer, and then suddenly her mum dies, and after her death, after her funeral, she suddenly starts getting letters sent to her, and they're signed off Love Mum. And it was like, the premise was there, and I was intrigued. The execution, however, wasn't quite there. And I just remember this is the first crime book I've ever seen where the author tried to put romance in it. Like, when you pick up a crime, I don't know about anyone else, but when I pick up a crime book, I'm not expecting romance. I'm not there for that. I'm there for the suspense. I'm there for the mystery. I'm there for the psychological thrill. I'm not looking for romance. And so there was this like romance subplot in this book that just felt so out of place. And every time it would go back to that, I was thinking to myself, is he gonna die? Is she gonna die? Is something what? I was trying to like only think of it through the context of crime and suspense. So I was like, something terrible is going to happen to one of them. But no, it was just the author wanted to put some romance. It was just so weird. It was just very misplaced. I struggled with this one. Okay, Rose in Chains. This was one of my absolute favorite books of the year. 5 stars. Well, how many 5 stars? I feel like there's more 5 stars than any other category. What do you mean? It's because I read Harry Potter, but still. Oh my gosh, Rose in Chains. So it was sold to me as Hermione fanfic. I've never read any Hermione fanfic. I hadn't read Manacled at this point. I had read nothing, but intrigued me. I had just read Harry Potter again, and I was like, okay, had I? Actually, I think I might have read this book before I reread Harry Potter. Yeah, I did. I just lied to you. I read this in April before Harry Potter. I feel like I'd never considered it until somebody like told me about this whole fan base who were obsessed with like Draco and Hermione getting together, their like love story. The ultimate enemies to lovers, right? So obviously as an adult now I'm obsessed with the trope enemies to lovers, and I was like, damn, that is a good one. I could definitely get on board with that. Loved Hermione. Never really saw Draco that way, but that's history. So yeah, that's how this book was sold to me. I went into it with no expectations and was absolutely blown away. It was the slowest slow burn. Like when I tell you that it was one of those books where I was so satisfied with just the longing looks and the brush of the hand. I was there for it all. It was a very exciting time. I was like, damn, I could be down for this whole Hermione thing. Okay, so that's Rose in Chains. That's my rant about that. The Right Move. I did a few rereads this year. Last year, I did a few rereads. The Right Move was one of them, and honestly, loved that book. It was a solid 4.5 when I first read it, and it remained a solid 4.5 when I read it again. Like, can't fault that book. Ryan Shea is one of the best contemporary book boyfriends there is. So Liz Tomford can do no wrong. She writes romance like no other. Bear Town. This is like just such a change of tune. This is by Frederick Buckman. If you haven't, I'm sure you've heard of this book, but it was a general fiction. It's actually classified also as a crime because it centers around, is there a crime? Well, there's definitely a crime, but is there another crime? I can't remember. The first like opening line of that book is, I think it says something like, a kid walks into the forest with a gun and shoots someone, and this is the story of how we got to that point. Like, that's the first line. And you're just like, okay. And so like you're reading the book this whole time and you know that that's where this story is headed, and you're just like, what is happening? I can guarantee that it's unlike anything you've ever read. I've never felt feminine rage the way I did when I read this book. Yeah, I don't know. I could yap about that for a while. I remember, I don't know if I rated this 5 stars. No, I didn't rate it. It was almost perfect. There was just something in it that wasn't a 5-star for me. I don't know how to explain that. I think it's a very subjective thing. Okay, then I read, again, this is in no particular order, by the way. I did not read these in this order, but I did read 2 Steve Kavanaughs. I remember I did read these back to back though. I read these in June, and I remember them both being just solid 4 stars. Like, I think they were all like maybe a tiny bit more than 4 stars, but like just solid 4 stars, which is on par with Steve Kavanaugh. I think they both belong here. Again, both of them were like solid books. I just love Steve Kavanaugh's way. I love his writing. I love the way he uses the courtroom drama. I just realized that I'm just such a sucker for courtroom drama. Like, I love it. Give me some crime mystery with some courtroom drama and I'm there. Okay, then another series that I started this year was Spark of the Everflame, which is is it the Kindred's Curse saga? The Kindred's Curse saga. I think I also read all of these back to back, didn't I? Yes, I did. So Spark of the Everflame, I loved this series. I feel like it was it was like an almost perfect series. It was almost a 5 stars for me. There were some tiny things that like took away that just didn't make it quite 5 stars, but I think like the first 2 books especially, loved. I think like my biggest gripe with the 3rd book was the main female character just started to really grind my gears. Heat of the Everflame was like, I wish it could even go here. It can't. Like, she just started to really piss me off, but I was already invested. 2 books in, and I loved those 2 books, and there was just like, there's a family forming, there's like animals that we're connecting with in this like fantasy world, and I was already invested. But man, she can piss me off. She's literally just like, seriously, you need to take some advice that's given to you. Stop asking for advice if you're not going to take any of it. But the first 2 were phenomenal. And then I think the 4th one is coming out this year, and I fully intend to finish the series, and it was left on a massive cliffhanger. So yeah, I'm excited to see what she does. Okay, Icebreaker. I reread Icebreaker and my rating changed. I think I rated this like, I thought it was like fantastic when I first read it. I'd never read a romance, a contemporary romance book where the relationship between the couple was healthy, with healthy communication and secure attachment, and they actually just like respected each other and liked each other, and it wasn't this toxic games and back and forth and hot and cold. It was like, and so I just thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. So I remember rating this 5 stars, and then I reread it after having read quite a lot of romances. I remember like, I still thought it was phenomenal, still think it's one of my favorites. I really enjoyed this series because I really love the found family in it. So I think it was like a solid 4 stars for me. I feel like this is a solid 4 stars. There were just like a few things that now I was like, oh, well, this isn't giving me 5-star feels anymore, but I still really enjoy it. Okay, Rewind It Back. Rewind It Back is another Liz Tomford. So I read this. This was another book club pick. And then this was a new release last year. It was the final book in the Windy City series, and it was Rio's story. Bless his cotton socks. And I loved it. I loved it. I don't think it was a 5 stars. I think it was almost perfect because it was closing. It was like closing the series that I have loved so much. Like, this is a like sports romance interconnected standalone where it follows a different sport each book, and the characters she writes and the found family is just so good. And this was the final installment, and she not only did she do it justice by giving Rio like an incredible story, but she also tied it off at the end with all the characters that we've met along the way, and it was just like, it was beautiful. It was like an incredible end to a series that I've loved so much, and like I'm rereading. I'm definitely coming back to this series again because it was just so good. Okay, All the Stars and Teeth. Yeah, this is another young adult fantasy. I love me some mermaids. I love me some sea adventures, sirens, pirates, mermaids. I love it. Give me 14 of them. Don't give me this one. No. I'm actually struggling to remember, but there were like moments that were okay, and that's it. But the rest was not cool. I'm sorry. I think I rated this like 2 stars. The more I've thought about it, the more I have beef with this book. So I'm just gonna keep it there. Just no. I should have DNF'd. Maybe I should have DNF'd it. I actually think I'm gonna put it here. I could do with the time back that I spent on this book. I don't think it was for me. I think I persevered, but I didn't love it. Okay, Two Kinds of Stranger. This was Steve Kavanagh's release last year, and I think I think this was another one where I enjoyed it. I had fun, but there were some issues. So he's written 9 books, and at this point, it was starting to be like, what else can he possibly write about? Like, what's the next case going to be? What's the next, scenario? Where's the drama going to come from? And it was, yeah, I just felt like he's trying to go above and beyond every book. And in this one, it just missed a little bit for me. It felt like he was trying to do way too much at once. It felt like there were 2 plot lines happening simultaneously side by side, and it could have just been one, and it should have just been one. Okay, then I read Binding 13 and Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. I'm still unwell. I had no idea what to expect going into this book. Like, I quite fully thought this was going to be a very wholesome high school romance. Yeah, that's it, really. That's what I thought. And no, this was quite the year for intense, emotional, triggering read. This is the 3rd one in the year that I read that I was just like, whoa. It was because I have struggled so hard to rate these books. I haven't rated them on any app. I don't know what to rate them. So I'm going totally by vibes. Look, it was not bad. It was not a bad story. It was not bad writing. It was like the easiest writing to read. These books are chunky too. Like, they are so thick. And I read both of them, back to back in about the space of a week. I was just so encapsulated by the story, and I was just like, I have to know what happens next. It's like a suspense. How do I rate these? I feel like it's got to be... It's here. It's here somewhere. It's like, it's not a 5-star read for me. It didn't give me 5 stars. But, like, it made me feel, right? And I just feel like if you're reading a book, you want a book that's going to make you feel something. And these books made me feel the whole spectrum of human emotion, like all of it. So I just feel like that is not fair. I feel like I almost have to put it in. This is like, it feels so wrong to say it was an almost perfect book, because it's almost like I wish these things never happened to these characters. I wish they could start over and like have the life that they deserved, but they didn't. This was their story, and so it just feels wrong to celebrate that, if that makes sense. It feels wrong to celebrate that, but at the same time, like, this author wrote it in such a way, and like it's a satisfying ending. It's a satisfying ending. I've not rated it until now, and I just feel like it's there. I feel like it has to go there. Okay, now, I finished the Chestnut Springs series, so that's what's next. I'm gonna go through all of these. What a wild ride this was. This was like the peak of my cowboy romance era. I was obsessed. And then I also ended up finishing the Lila Sage Rebel Blue Ranch series. I literally read all these back to back. So let's go through. Now, Chestnut Springs, I read the first book the previous year. What is it? Flawless. And I didn't think much of it. I was like, Rhett and Summer, I was like, yeah, it was fun. I feel like I would have rated that. I had fun, but there are issues. Heartless was another story. Heartless was so good. What is that? Okay. I feel like I rated it a solid 4 stars. So there was like, it wasn't perfect, but oh my god, did I have fun with that book. Like, I was so surprised. I was like, oh, I'm diving back in, I'm gonna give it another go, but I didn't have high expectations because the first book was kind of mid. Is this Kate and Willa? I think this is Kate and Willa. Stop. Like, I loved it. I actually loved it. It was like a single dad nanny trope with like a kid, and again, like sometimes like having animals or having kids in books, like it's hit or miss. This was hit. This was so much of a hit. Having this little boy in this, oh, I just loved it so much. Like I cried joyful tears. I'm almost thinking like, is 4 too low? Is it? Oh my, I don't know if that it was almost perfect though. No, I'm gonna keep it there. Okay, I'm gonna keep it there. Okay, then I read Powerless. I had really high expectations of Powerless, I think, because I feel like that's everyone's favorite. I know that a lot of people like Heartless too, but like I feel like there's so much hype around Powerless, so I struggled. Genuinely struggled. I was literally so confused. Why does everybody love this man? And I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know if it was like I couldn't relate to them or their story. I just found it really lacking, and there were some parts that I was like, yep, love that, and then but there were few and far between, and for the majority of it I was just like, okay. Guys, I am starting to wither away here. Like I need to like rapid fire the rest of this because we have been sat for so long. This video is going to be so long. Oh my god, I was thinking to myself, I'm going to just like fire through these, no worries. This is not going to take me long. Alright, let's just keep going. Okay, Reckless, fantastic. Chef's Kiss, the only time I've read a pregnancy trope go well. Solid 4 stars. Get up there. Solid 4 stars right there with Heartless. Hopeless, I had fun. There were issues. This was people's least favorite, and I still thought it was better than Powerless. Those are my thoughts. Okay, then Swift and Saddled. I struggled with this one. I did not find either of these characters relatable. This one wasn't for me. This was one, maybe I'm the problem. I think I'm the problem. Ugh, am I the problem? I'm the problem. But am I? I just feel like I struggled. I don't know. Okay, yeah, we're gonna keep going. Lost and Lassoed, however, I had fun. It had its issues, don't get me wrong. This whole series is a good series, I think, but it definitely didn't hit as good as some of the Elsie Silver ones, I will say that, but I did really enjoy this. However, the similarities between the two, I don't recommend reading Chestnut Springs and Rebel Blue Ranch back to back because you will get confused. You will get confused over who the characters are because there's too many similarities between the two series. Like there's family dynamic with a single dad and brothers and a sister, and there's like a redhead. There's like a grumpy sunshine. This is one, Lost and Lassoed, grumpy sunshine redhead. This is grumpy sunshine redhead. Like it's too similar. So I don't recommend reading them back to back. I recommend spreading that out. But yeah, I had fun with that one. Wild and Wrangled, I'd say I had fun. There were issues with that one. I had high expectations. They were like my most anticipated read, like couple to read. I really, really wanted their story. And I think it just like fell flat a little bit. Okay, finally, I reread A Court of Mist and Fury. And I think we all know that this is going up here with This Book Changed My DNA. And it did it again. I literally reread this to feel something. And it did not let me down. I literally fell in love with Reese all over again. He is my #1 book boyfriend and he will always be. I don't think anyone can knock him out of that spot. He's perfect. I just don't argue with the wall. Then I read The Night Prince. No, that's not what I read. I read The Wolf King and The Night Prince and I loved it. I literally was so blown away. I didn't have very high expectations. And I was like, what do you mean I like a love triangle? What do you mean that I'm actually enjoying this trope? You know the filter is just slipping when I've been sitting here for like how long? I think I've been here for like over an hour. I've been here for an hour and a half. My brain is not braining right now. Okay, we persevere. We're so close. So I think these are almost perfect to me. The Wolf King? Yeah, no, these were almost perfect. They were almost 5 stars. Genuinely loved this. The ride it took me on. And like, you're at this point now with this love triangle where you don't even know who she's going to choose. And that's how you know it's a solid book, because you don't know who she's going to end up with. And you don't have you have a favorite. You definitely have a favorite. But like, you wouldn't be mad if it wasn't the one you wanted. You wouldn't actually be that mad. Okay. I don't know why, but I want to do these two next. Quicksilver. I finally read Quicksilver last year. I was not disappointed. I think it was a solid 4 stars for me. So many people are saying Kingfisher's their #1 book boyfriend. That surprised me after reading this, because like, don't get me wrong, he's great, but #1? Really? I don't know why. He didn't do it for me the way that, and like his name's Kingfisher. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like solid 4 stars. Like the vibes are good. I would highly recommend this book. Like it's a good time. And then Brimstone came out. I read Quicksilver just before I knew the next book was coming out. And I definitely enjoyed it, but I had issues. And now this is one of those ones where I like, am I the problem? Because I think like it was I think it was still a good book, but I had issues with it. And now this is one of the ones that I think like I might have been the problem. I don't want to be the problem. My ego is like, no, you don't have the problem. The problem is in the book. Like, I just feel like maybe maybe this isn't so unpopular. Oh. I feel like I had fun, but there were some issues with this one. Like, there were some plot issues. There were some pacing issues. I'm still invested. And the cliffhanger got me good. But yeah, I was expecting a little bit more. Okay, I read the Book of Azrael. And this one, I think I'm the problem. Because I liked it, but I didn't love it, and I think it was the time that I was reading it. I just think like at the time, I don't know, I couldn't get into it. I feel like maybe I should have taken a break from fantasy. I was just reading fantasy, back to back, non-stop. I was so in my fantasy era, and I picked this one up, and I had actually picked it up earlier and soft DNF'd it, knowing I would come back to it. And so I wanted to come back to it, and I decided to persevere this time. And I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have forced it, because I didn't love it. And I think that if it had been the right time and the right mood, I would have really, really loved it. At least rated it higher than I did. So I feel like I'm the problem with that one. Okay, The Bridge Kingdom. I struggled, but it wasn't that bad. I had fun. Maybe it's I had fun. I just feel like there was... Wait, let me just consult. I struggled with this one. There was some issues. There were some issues that I could not overlook. Like, you know when you read a book, and unfortunately I wish I wasn't this way, but I am. If I read a book and there are like some issues that are just too glaringly obvious. If one character's just annoying, but they're not in it that much, I can overlook that. But if there's like a major plot flaw that, even though, and I know this is just silly because we're in a fantasy world, this is a fantasy book, nothing is real, nothing's realistic, but the characters are not acting as if the stakes are as high as they are, then I can't take you seriously. If you're telling me that this is the daughter of the enemy and that you are pretty sure she is one of the biggest threats and yet you constantly leave her unguarded, unsupervised, and then keep talking about how she's really probably a big threat and we shouldn't leave her alone, and then continue to, like, I can't take you seriously. So I had struggled with this one a lot. So yeah. Okay, Phantasma. I enjoyed. I had a good time. I don't know how I feel about the ghost sex, I'm not gonna lie, but I didn't hate this. I don't know, the romance for me was a little bit unbelievable, which took away from it a little bit, but you know, I don't know. It was a good time. So, okay, Holiday Ever After. I struggled with this, but I'm the problem. I struggled, but I know that I'm the problem because I had unnecessary beef with the plot. Like, I feel like for anybody else reading this book, the main problem that they were working through should have just been a theme that was in the background, and then the romance of this holiday romance should have been at the forefront of everyone's mind. But I was so fixated on the theme and how shit it was and how, like, it was just bullshit that I couldn't enjoy the holiday romance because this was pissing me off so much the whole time. So I feel like I'm the problem. Okay. Okay, thus begins. Thus begins. We're at the final home stretch. We're about to get into the final stint of the year. I read the remaining books in November and December. And just for context, got these are all fanfics. They're all Dramini fanfics. Once I read Manacled, I spiraled into this hole of obsession over Draco and Hermione. I absolutely spiraled into this hole. And I didn't want to get out. And I didn't want anyone to pull me out. I just wanted everyone to leave me there. So Manacled, I think we all know where this is going. Literally, God tier. This book changed my DNA. This book is like Infinity Stars forever. This book was so unexpectedly good. And like, check your trigger warnings and all that, because obviously, like, what happened? What happened? I don't know. I just... yeah. Manacled changed my life. I'm obsessed with Draco Malfoy. It's like, what do you mean? It's like I have had it's like I've been blind to Draco this whole time, and now I'm seeing clearly for the first time, and he's like a book boyfriend. He's a book boyfriend. What do you mean? Okay, so then after that, I literally couldn't, nothing would bring me joy. Nothing would light me up. Everything was grey. I just simply, I tried to read other books. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pick anything up. Nothing was capturing my attention. Everything was depressing me further. I was not okay for at least a week. I remember finishing the book, Manacled, and then one of my friends called me that day and was like, hey, like, what's going on? And I was crying, and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I just finished Manacled. I'm not okay. And then I proceeded to immediately pick it up and reread like my favorite parts again. And then finally I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. This is hurting me. This isn't helping me. I need to like let this go. And so instead I read 4 other Dramini fanfics. So I remember reading Breath Mints and Battle Scars, The Auction. I read Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Falling in Love and Isolation. And let me just tell you, I don't even know how they're gonna fit into these categories. I remember Breath Mints and Battle Scars were fun, but there was issues. This was like all the variations of Draco, right? There's like Toxic Draco, that was this one, Breath Mints and Battle Scars. The Auction, excuse me, this was almost perfect. This was literally almost perfect. The Auction was like, there was one thing that happened towards the end that I didn't like. And if that hadn't have happened, if it had happened differently, 5 stars. Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love, also almost perfect. Like, is it 5 stars? It might be 5 stars. I feel like I have continued to think about it, and like, it was so funny. It was like, I never expected to like laugh in one of these. A lot of these fanfics are quite dark. They're set in like dystopian futures and dystopian alternate endings to Harry Potter, where like Voldemort wins and Harry dies, and then this is the like the alternate universe of like how the characters pick up the pieces at the end of it. And so like a lot of these are dark, but Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love, in that one, like, Harry won because obviously Draco, being a renowned Death Eater, has to pick up the pieces of his life, and it was just from his point of view. So none of the other ones are from his point of view. They're all from Hermione's except for this one. This one was from Draco's point of view, and it was so funny. I was laughing out loud so much. It was just so good, remembering how much I loved it, but there was just something about it that just didn't give me 5-star rate, like 5-star feels. I don't know what it was, but I think I'm going to keep it there. And then lastly, I read Isolation, which again, it was really good. This one was better than Breath Mints and Battle Scars. This was also Toxic Draco, because like it's him, how he is in the books. I reckon it's solid 4 stars, because similar to Breath Mints and Battle Scars, like this Draco was Toxic Draco. Like it's him, how he's depicted in the books and the movies. Like he's got all of his prejudices and everything, but this is like the story of how that changes. Like, so you start out with him, how he is, and then, you know, you kind of have to go through that journey and that development, that character development that happens over time to get to the end. I didn't love Toxic Draco as much. I'm not a huge fan of like bully love and stuff like that, but some people are. So like some people love this one, and I totally get that. And I think like I tolerated it because it's Draco, but I just think like for me it's just a personal preference. I like it when he comes around, you know, like I liked it better when like that he leaves that and he grows as a person. Oh my gosh, we did it. We got to the end. You guys, I need to stop talking. My throat is so dry. But that is every single book I read last year rated. I can't believe we did it. I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, my camera just died right at the end there, but we did it. Oh my gosh, so we've done it. We have gone through every single book that I read in 2025 and we've rated them all. It looks so pretty. I'm so happy with this. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. Like, genuinely, I'm not even here anymore. Like, my brain is so... Guys, I need to go. I need to exit stage left. Hopefully with some grace. But thank you so much if you stuck around to the end of the video and watched me rate all of the books that I read in 2025. That was a wild ride. I honestly don't know if I'll ever read that many books in a year again. So what a year to rate them all. But we did it. We made it to the end. Thank you so much if you've stuck around this long, and let me know what was your favorite read of last year and your least favorite read, and I will hopefully see more of you. I'll see more of you. You'll see more of me in the next year. I'm really hoping to make a comeback to YouTube. We'll see how we go. But if there's anything you want to see, let me know down below, any videos or any ideas. I'm down to try new videos this year, like maybe some more vlogs, maybe some other sort of talking videos. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing week ahead, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah!